who's going to help me switch through slides and pass it to me. So, thank you, Courtney. So here is what I would like to do today. I would like to partner with you on a fun conversation about leadership. Part of that conversation with you, because no one can make better fun of me than me, is share with you some of the key learnings through my experiences in positions of leadership. And I'm going to pretend that I'm the only one in the room that's ever made some of these mistakes. So it would be safe for you to hide behind me. So what I'd like to do before we jump into our objectives as part of my introduction is share with you a little bit more about myself. So I'm from Detroit, Michigan. Thank you. That's just a goal of mine. I'm going to say Detroit, Wisconsin, and people are going to clap. So born and raised Detroit, love Michigan. I am all things Michigan. And as you'll learn about me for the next couple hours, whatever I thought I was going to be, I ended up being the complete opposite. So in Detroit, love Detroit, coolest guy in my life, Father Stan. I wanted to be Father Stan, Catholic, right? I was going to be this priest, and it was cool. And my grandmother was Southern Baptist, and she was all about that. And I did not know this at the time, but if you're that serious at the age of 13 about being a priest, your only option in the Midwest is a little school in Mount Calvary, Wisconsin, called St. Lawrence Seminary. And I immediately thought, Mount Calvary, didn't Jesus die there, right? Like, I wasn't flying overseas to do this, I just wanted to go to school. So I left Detroit at 13 and have never been back. So I've been here alone since I was 13, and it was going great. I can give you every book of the Bible right now in like 3 different languages, and it makes me sound smarter than I really am. It's really cool. And then senior year, puberty hit. And I had to renegotiate the life plan. Because I hadn't quite understood all that Father Stan agreed to do and not to do. But I loved the school. Loved the school. I will say at the seminary is where I got what I'll affectionately say is addicted to information. I am not addicted to school. It is a rather expensive addiction. There are other addictions that are probably cheaper than school. But I love information. And so part of what I learned, or I thought I had learned about leadership, is if you want to progress and you want to do all these great things, then you have to have all these letters behind your name, or so I thought, right? So I get this basketball scholarship to play in college, and it was great because since I can't be a priest, I'm going to the NBA. That was the plan. And so I'm in school, and then my sophomore year, I blow my knee out. But that's okay, you know, it happens. But I come back, and guess what I did the next year? Blew my other knee out. But that's all right, because I'm coming back. That's what we do in Detroit. We'll get back up, right? Imported from Detroit. And guess what I did my senior year? I tore it again, man. Seriously? 3 times. And so 9 reconstructive surgeries later, maybe, just maybe, I'm not supposed to play basketball. So I'll learn something while I'm in school. How about that? So I ended up with this undergraduate degree in accounting because I was going to be an accountant, just like I was going to be a basketball player, just like I was going to be a priest. First job out of college, juvenile corrections. I don't even remember in my free time talking about juvenile corrections, let alone studying, right? So my route, someone said you had to go to school to learn all this stuff because experience wouldn't be enough. So rather than go get a certificate or do what the reasonable person would do, I decide I'm going to enroll in UW Oshkosh and get a master's degree in public administration because that's going to teach me to be a good juvenile corrections guy. And it was great. And then I graduated. And then I ended up working at the seminary where I was a student. How exactly did that happen? So I found myself responsible for people. But I had never studied being responsible for people. There's got to be something out there that I can do to understand how to manage people. Oh, I got it. I'll go get a master's degree in human resources and labor relations because that seems like the right thing to do. And then I get this master's degree in human resources and find myself working in nonprofit at the Milwaukee Urban League. So clearly me chasing the degree with the job was just a bad strategy. But it was a great lesson for me. Living like the Joneses is not necessary. I am not a penguin, and everybody around me was doing something that I thought I needed to do to be an effective leader. Not true. And then this MBA happened, and honestly, it's just arrogance, and I'll say it on camera, I know I'm being recorded. Here's the deal. All my friends around me got an MBA, and I didn't have one. So, okay. So I'll go get one. And then this PhD is because, I mean, seriously, how many master's degrees do you need? And it's school, and there's only 3 things left. PhD, doctor, and lawyer. And you should know that I'm colorblind. So me being a doctor is probably not in your best interest. And an attorney, probably not. So that's me and my background, and all my jobs that I've had the honor of serving other organizations are built around who I will say serving the vulnerable, serving groups traditionally underrepresented. That is what I'm passionate about. Most recently, being a senior vice president with Wells Fargo, I was in the mutual fund business. Nowhere in my introduction did you hear me say I like investments. Nowhere. But it was a challenge, and I had never done it. Why not? So I'll do it. And then after a few years, I was like, you know what? I can't just deviate from my core, and my core is service. And so I've been lucky and honored to have survived the 80% of new businesses fail in the first year rule. So there were some times it was just barely, but I survived it. And so I met some of your team last year at your conference downtown Milwaukee. I had the honor of meeting you, which is why I'm so humbled to have been invited back to talk to you again. So that's how I ended up here with you today. So today, here's what we're going to do. We are going to have some fun examining leadership styles. And here's the rule with that. Before you think about your boss, you have to think about you first. Or before you think about someone at home, you have to think about you first. I am a big fan of dealing with my own stuff before I address someone else's. I have this radio show where 99.9% of the time I'm talking about me and you and what's going on with us. And then we'll talk about what happened with everyone else. So let's understand the leadership styles. Let's understand how they apply to us. And then we'll talk about everyone else. We are going to laugh so hard. I'm biased in my opinion. But we are going to laugh a lot today, understanding communication. And oh, our tricky brain. How it plays tricks on us in the words that we use and the language that we use and how we believe that we're being clear. But what is happening is not what we meant. And that's no one else's fault. That forces us to look at us first. We're going to do that. Before the end of the day, what point is spending a few hours with you if we have no commitment to starting to do something? We are not going to write a business plan for the rest of our life, but we will do something. We'll commit to a start. Whatever the start is, we are going to commit to that. So that's what we're going to do, and having fun along the way, so that when you tell people you were at a training or however this was labeled, and you start telling people about it, they're going to think you played hooky because it was fun. Okay, so that's the plan. So I have an exercise just to see how ready, how focused we are. I am going to flash a sentence on the wall. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to read it, and then I want you to look at your neighbor and repeat it without messing it up. So read it, and then look at your neighbor and repeat it. Ready? Here we go.
Which wristwatches? Which wristwatches? With
I can hear a vision breeze coming. Okay, who feels like they got it? Anybody want to dare volunteer and repeat it for us? Which wristwatches are Swiss wristwatches? Who's got it?
You.
Okay, can we hear it?
Which wristwatches
Beautiful. Anybody else want to give it a shot? Here's what I believe about all of you. I believe that all of you can say it if you are not worried about the pace that the other people in the room can say it. Which wrist watches are Swiss wrist watches? Right? Here's what we do, human beings. Everything's a race. Everything's a race. I told you I'm colorblind, right? You know what I think when I see the yellow light on the stoplight? Challenge accepted. I can't see the red or the green, but I can see the yellow. Challenge accepted. Everything's a race. It's a race to the top, right? It's a race to finish school first. It's a race to be a leader. It's a race to be done with your project. It's a race to get out of the building. Everything's a race. And we start to train our brain to believe, then, that everything's a race. Everything. No matter how silly it sounds, which wristwatches are swish, 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 swish. How I sound is how you look when you're rushing your leadership. At your pace. That's all that we who want to follow you are asking. I want to follow you at the pace at which you are comfortable leading. And if you lead faster than you can speak, I'm confused and you spit on me. Right? So key point number one, I do want you to have fun with that sentence. When someone comes in your office or wherever you are and they're mad at you and it's pretty obvious they're worked up, just flash the sign. I need you to repeat this back to me. And as soon as they can say it, then have them yell at you at the pace at which they said that. Slow down. Right? Slow down. Everything does not have to be a race. My first question for you, which I do not expect a vocal response, is do you have a challenge with this sentence right here as it relates to the pace of your leadership? Are you convinced that you always have to be going really fast? If you can't complete this really fast, or what your brain says is efficiently, then something's going to be wrong. I have a question for you. I do not have it on the slide, but I want to talk to you a little bit about something serious, but we're gonna broaden it out a little bit. Here's my question for you. A few years ago, we had the unfortunate witness to what happened at Hurricane Katrina. We watched the levees break, right? We watched the ocean. We watched it. We watched it. John Cotter's first rule and change is you need to create a sense of urgency. You know what's cool about being in a room full of librarians? I can say, go, did you read that book? And all of you better say yes. All right. So I'm not going to ask for the one person who probably didn't. John Cotter, leading change. His first rule in leading change is create a sense of urgency. Human beings will not move until they feel it's urgent. If you do not believe me, go drive past the school when school's letting out. When do the kids get out of the road? When they're supposed to or when they feel it? They get out when they feel it, and everybody feels like it differently, right? Create a sense of urgency, but here's my challenge with that. And here's my first question for you, and we can talk about it. Why do you think some families did not leave their home when the ocean was coming? For me, I can't think of a bigger sense of urgency than, hey, Alonzo, the ocean's coming. Okay, I'm out. Not a flood, not a heavy rain, the ocean. And you live in the bottom of a cereal bowl. And people still didn't leave. Why do you think people didn't leave? There could be a million reasons. Share with me. Why do you think people didn't leave? Yes?
They had no transportation, no way to go.
They had no transportation.
Location, no money.
Okay. Yes?
They saw it before and it was a false alarm.
Oh, previous experience, right? They say that all the time.
Yeah.
They wanted to protect their stuff.
They wanted to protect their stuff.
Unsure about where they would go.
Well, I know I gotta leave, but where am I supposed to go? There are all kinds of reasons why people left. But what does not change is the ocean is coming. The ocean is coming. Right? So with all due respect to Mr. Cotter, creating a sense of urgency can't be it by itself. It can't be it by itself. So here's what I cleverly inject into this theory. If you want people to move, you need three things, fellow leaders. One, you do need a sense of urgency, as defined by being taking action right now. And that needs to be clear. But here's what else you need. People need to be ready. I need to be ready to move. Am I prepared to move? I don't want to leave my house right now. I'm not ready. I do not have a car. I'm not ready. Did you see the traffic on the freeway? I'm not ready. So people wait. Finally, people need to be motivated. Motivated. As defined by a clear understanding of the reason behind they do what they do. So I'll go back to New Orleans for a minute, and then I'll pick on me, and then you can pick on whoever's in your head right now. So the ocean's coming. I believe, because all of you look really nice, that all of you would leave. But a lot of people didn't leave. So maybe they did understand the ocean was coming, but they didn't have a car. Then I'm not moving. Or have you ever seen someone look like they were just not motivated to do anything? You've seen that look, right? It's not about them, I teach. It's not about people not being prepared or not understanding the sense of urgency. Alonzo, I'm in this class because my boss said I need to take this class to keep my job. So they got the sense of urgency. And they showed up with their book. But they're not motivated. Never participated. Something's missing. Something's missing, that they're not engaged. Something's missing. My previous leadership style, I can give you very specific instances where I thought I was on top of my game when clearly something was missing. You need all three to move. I can give you examples of times when I was ready, I was prepared, and I was motivated, but I thought I had more time. The sense of urgency wasn't there. I do get the sense of urgency, and I am motivated. Just give me a couple minutes to get my stuff together. Right? Can I have one more day? You have anybody on your team that asked for that? On an important project? This is going to be sweet. Just give me a week. The ocean's coming. Right? They're missing something. I got a funny one for you. How many of you set New Year's resolutions? I'm the only one in the room. Okay, I'll be out there. My question for you is on January 1st, what popped in your head that you knew you didn't have to do in October? Something was missing. It wasn't urgent, so you put it off till January. Maybe it was urgent. The doctor said, change your diet, stop eating, putting so much salt in there. And you said, okay, starting January 1st. Right? Maybe, just maybe, when we can't get ourselves to move, or other people on our team to move, we need to identify which of the three is missing. Let's own it first. Let you and I own it first as leaders. And then figure out how to partner with the person on the team, rather than be frustrated with them first. Because the real life example, again, is New Orleans. People didn't move. Any questions on that? Understand what I mean? Okay, so let's look at our first leadership style. Authority. You follow this person because you do not have a choice. Can you give me where I would find a leader like that? You follow orders or people die. What movie is that? You can't handle the truth. Few good men, right? That's the military. You follow not because you want to, not because you have to. You have absolutely no choice. You have no choice. That is a style. Can you help me out with some advantages to that style? I follow her because I have to, and that's it. Can you give me some advantages to that type of leadership style?
You don't have to motivate them.
You do not have to motivate them. It is what it is. Any others?
The job gets done.
The job certainly gets done. You can't argue with outcome. Yes,
Clean and simple.
clean and simple. You can debate in your free time, just not right now when work needs to get done. Okay, now, the fun part. What are the challenges with this leadership style?
Resentment.
Resentment. Yes.
Inflexibility.
Just not being flexible enough, right? Which is how you lose the team. Yeah.
No opportunity for input.
No opportunity for input. So, many years ago, many years, you know when people give you a disclaimer, that means it was fairly recent. Many years ago, we had done a 360 survey or feedback on me from my team. And one of the goals I had, I'll be transparent, with Wells Fargo, one of the goals I had as part of my responsibility. So I was responsible for all of the call centers across the country for Wells Fargo's mutual fund business. I'm not the bank. If you got a bad mortgage, not my fault. All right? But if you're in a mutual fund business, maybe. Okay? So all the call centers across the country, training and development, recruitment and retention, some of those non-direct revenue generating services. Okay? And when I took the role, being competitive, I looked at our ranking for call center service, and we were ranked 13. And wow, 13 across the country, pretty good. For some, not for me. Gotta be first. Gotta be first. So when I took the job, I said, give me 1 year. We'll be best in class. And everybody, 1 year? 1 year. It's a non-negotiable. People will follow me. I'll walk around and tell everybody what to do. So here's the good news. Guess what we were ranked after 12 months? Best in class. Guess what my 360 feedback said? Why are you laughing at me? Did you see that? I thought that was anonymous. Okay. So we all know where I'm going with this. What do you think about Alonzo's leadership as it relates to achieving the goal? Excellent. Excellent. Phenomenal leader. Gets things done. Delivers the results. What do you think about your relationship with Alonzo? No, I'm laughing. What do you think about your relationship with Alonzo? Alonzo does not care about me personally. Alonzo just is not invested in what's going on with me right now. He's focused on the goal. Authority. I did achieve best in class with carnage in the process. So now it becomes this reflection of, would I ever do it again? Could I have achieved best in class without making my team feel like I did not care about them personally? Here's what I observed in the mornings. When I walked in the mornings, what people who care about one another do. How was your day? How was your evening? How was your weekend? How's your kid's soccer game? How's that paint job going on in the house? All those things, right? That's what people who care about one another do. They stop and engage in that conversation. Here was mine, Monday morning. Someone standing there. Hey, how you doing? How was your weekend? Good. How's that paint project going? All right. And walked away. And I said, how dare they? I asked about their kids. He doesn't care about how my weekend went. I did ask about your weekend, but you talk too slow. Right? No, I didn't want that. I wanted best in class. I perceived my title in terms of authority being the best way to achieve best in class. And the danger is I did it. The danger is I did it. The bad news is my 360 feedback hurt my review. And it was fair. It was absolutely fair and accurate. So now I'll start with you. Am I the only one in the room that has ever had this leadership style? Thank you. I was lonely on this island. Okay. It's fun when you're delivering. It is not fun when you get the feedback. It doesn't make it good. It doesn't make it bad. You do not have to be locked into one style. There are certainly times when it's appropriate to be this. If there is a fire at my house, I do not want the fire department huddling together negotiating on what the best thing is to do now. Right? Sometimes you need it. Too much of anything, though, is not good. So what about another side? How about the teachers? And the crowd goes, oh. They do have authority. Teachers have authority. They embrace relationships. They produce results, and they enjoy mentoring others. The relationship is important for teachers. It's very important. You know, if you think literally, right? There's this this partnership between you and I. I have information you need to get the job done. You and I meet, and we talk, and I facilitate, and I encourage. I give you the information you need. That's great. Let me tell you about a fun time I was a teacher, in my teacher style. My 360 feedback when I was leading like this was, Alonzo really cares about me and my role. That's good for a guy who went to the seminary. That's what I want, right? Alonzo does deliver, and I like following him or being on his team. That was sweet. Can you identify really quick with the challenges with people who like this style and who always want to be on the team with this style? I'll give you one. Teachers never leave their role. They never leave. They're in their role forever. Which means, what about the team? They get restless. I say this all the time. Sometimes I think we forget we're talking about human beings. At some point, I'm going to want to evolve. I'm going to want more responsibility. I might want that leadership role. At some point, I'm going to want that. The problem is, you're never leaving. So what does it force the people on the team to do? Leave. At some point, they will leave. Doesn't mean you did anything wrong. Doesn't mean you did anything bad. Just, it's a human being behavior. What else do you think could be a challenge with always following someone who is just really stressing relationship? Yeah. Care about feelings first, right? Which means that feedback you might need to have gets watered down a little bit. I love the disclaimers. And we're going to talk about some of these words later, but I don't mean to be mean, but. Okay, we'll be mean. Is there something going on at home that I can help with? Because, you know, your attendance sucks. But it's important to me to know what I can do to help you at home. And then they tell you what's going on at home, and then you go, we have an EAP program for that. Because you can't address what's going on at home. Teacher style, very appropriate at times. Has its advantages at times. Can be a hindrance at times. Doesn't make it good. Doesn't make it bad. Just means too much of it gets in the way. Any questions on that one? We got one more, and then you're going to do a little reflection by yourselves. Okay. Then we have Yoda. It is all about respect for the shepherd. Think about a shepherd. Literally, a shepherd and a sheep, right? They follow because of authority, and they have a track record of producing results and mentoring others. Have you ever seen a shepherd raise their staff to a sheep. And maybe it happens when the camera's not around. I've just never seen it on National Geographic. We follow them because this is your more seasoned employee, your more seasoned leader. They've been leading for a really long time. And out of respect, none of us challenge them. Out of their wisdom and infinite experience, they decide, I'm going to help Alonzo along. That young man's got some potential. Let me work with him. Right? And then I go, he's going to mentor me. He's been here for 40 years. And then the clouds open. Oh! Right? That's Yoda. They've been in the role forever, and we follow out of sheer respect. And at the holiday party, we crack jokes about the guy, but we follow because they've been doing it for a long, long time. That does have its advantages. Again, starting with respect, there's a lot of information that this person carries based on their tenure with the organization or within the industry. We're going to follow because we have to. Any challenges with this style?
It's always been done that way.
I remember back in 1950 when we started this, and it's always served me well. It's always been that way. Yes.
The people go on, but he or she still stays at that level.
Yes. People go on, but they stay in that level. Almost like teacherish, right? At some point, the team gets restless. It's Yoda refusing to have a smartphone. Right? How many times have you updated your software? And the shepherd goes, I know exactly where that book is. Right? Just finds a workaround every time because they figured it out long before this computer headache. The team gets restless. The team gets restless. That's a danger. So we've got authority, and we've got teacher, and we've got shepherd. All of them are great. All of them have their advantages. All of them have their opportunities. Here's what I'd like for you to do for 2 minutes. All of 2 minutes. Which one are you? Not which one do people think you are. I'm asking you. Which one are you? You can lie to us in the room, but you can't lie to yourself. Which behavior does your leadership style reflect? Which one?
These are our only choices?
These are your only choices. Yes, authority. That is your only choice.
Which Bible? Eight.
Primary takes over, your authority takes over more.
TAS. STA. I don't feel
Other than the jokes. No, don't do that. We don't do that.
Okay, now I want you to tell me what you think your team would say.
my team was.
She just said.
Would your team label you how you just labeled yourself? so?
I think they would agree with my.
Part of, and you know, for those of us who have trouble sleeping at 2 in the morning infomercials, the views expressed on the show do not necessarily reflect the views of that, right? So the way that I see it, part of some of the biggest challenges with leadership is people say, I want to be that, whatever that style is, and then they do everything to be that, rather than be who they are and figure out how to adjust it to be more effective. If you grew up in a military family, you know, just Mark Twain, history doesn't repeat itself, it just rhymes, right? So if you grew up in a military family and you have a young man in the house, by age 10, you'd swear he was in the military. It just rhymes it, right? If you grow up in a house where there's no rules, by age 10, the kid rhymed a house with no rules. That's just how it goes. We believe then, based on the leadership we see, then that we have to rhyme what we see, because that's what's going to work. And it fights you naturally. Fights you naturally. So I'm going to get off the styles for a minute, and we're going to have a fun conversation on communication, but it starts with me telling you a story. Got to tell you a story. What's story time? So one day, so I have a 10-year-old daughter named Trinity, surprise, surprise, and a 5-year-old son, my niece, right? So a few years ago, let me tell you a story about what happened. So it's a Saturday morning, I'm in bed. Trinity, it's like 7 in the morning, probably 6:30, 7 in the morning. I hear Trinity come running down the hall. Daddy, 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 can we go to the park? And I'm half asleep, and I go, I don't care. So she gets excited. It's 6:30 in the morning. You picture this, right? 6:30 in the morning, and she's excited. And she runs out of the room, and she runs into her brother's room. Mandis, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Daddy said we can go to the park. Right now? Yes! Right now! So he gets up, starts putting his clothes on, and Trinity runs to the kitchen. Tell her mom, Mom, come on, put that stuff down. Daddy said we can go to the park. Right now? Yes, right now. Hold on a minute. How come you guys already know how these stories end? Right? So I hear the feeds. I'm going to give you the appropriate version of what was said. How come you told the kids we can go to the park? We can't go to the park. You know all the stuff we've been waiting on week to do? You got to get up and do this. And I'm not telling Trinity she can't go to the park. Let's look at you making me the bad person. Go tell her. Right? So I go to Trinity. Trinity, Daddy said you can go to the park, but we can't go to the park. And then Trinity goes, because Mom said we can't go? Yep. Your mom said we can't go, but it's okay, because we'll go to the park. Okay, Daddy. Then she gives her mom a look. Okay, Daddy. Let me tell you what happened. It was pretty clear that there was a breakdown in communication that happened. There was a serious misjudgment of role clarity and what happened in that morning. I believe that 95% of the disagreements we have on our teams are exactly what happened with my kids and I that morning. It's a confusion of role clarity. I want you to write these 4 letters down. R, A, C, I. It's easier to spell it first and say it than to confuse. Gracie, R-A-C-I. The R stands for recommender. A couple rules about the recommender. You can have an unlimited number of recommenders. A stands for authority. You can only, not authority, approver. Approver. You can only have one approver. One. The C stands for consult. you can have an unlimited number of people with whom you consult. And I stands for inform. And that number is infinite. Inform. Without getting anyone in trouble here, this is one of those, I want you to think about it and laugh or smile if you know what I'm talking about. You ever been involved on a really big project and something went awry, and then everybody wondered who was responsible for the thing that went awry, and everybody looks at each other like, that wasn't me? I wasn't in charge of that part. That was you, right? No. That was him. That wasn't me. It was her. Everybody looks around because nobody's clear on whose role is what in the project. Recommenders do just what the name says. They recommend. And you can recommend all day. Does the recommender, in your opinion, get to be the final say on what we do? No. Your role is to recommend. I'm going to skip the A for a minute. If you are a person that needs to be consulted with, hey, do you think that we can do this? Well, I do not see why not, but the library is closed this day, or we've got another event this day, we've got a couple groups in this day. They want to bring food in, I'm not sure if they can bring that food in. They consult, you're consulted with. Do the people with whom you're consulting with get the final approval on whether or not you go through with something? No. And the people who are informed, you turn on your computer and there's an email memo. Hey, just to let you know. Do the people who read that email get to stand up and say, stop? Do they get to turn the project off? They do not, they're just informed. The only reason you have one A, you can only have one A. I'm not going to do the whole cliche, too many cooks in the kitchen, right? When you have more than one person who's responsible for the A, then it confuses everybody. Which means you can only have one. So you're doomed from the start. If you are working on an initiative or a project, and the R is not clear, and the A is not clear, and the C is not clear, and the I's are not clear. So I'll go back to my Saturday morning nightmare. When Trinity came running down the hall and asked me, can she go to the park? What letter was she operating as? R. Daddy, I recommend we go to the park right now. She was an R. When she ran down the hall and said, Mondise, wake up, wake up, wake up. Daddy said we can go to the park. What letter was he? He was an I. Could he have done anything to stop us from going to the park? Nothing. Man, you're either going in your pajamas and you're peed on pull-up or put some clothes on, right? We're going to the park. There's nothing you can do about it. Now the key question. What did Trinity view me as? She viewed me as the A. And who was the A? Her mom. Right? Now see what happened when she thought I was the A? There were 3 relationships that got damaged that morning. 3. My relationship with her, I had to tell her we can't go. Trinity's relationship with her mom, it's all her fault, we can't go. And my relationship with her mom, because it's all her fault, right, that I didn't check in with her. 3 relationships, because the roles aren't clear. Roles aren't clear. Are any of you involved in an initiative or a project right now where you work? Are you involved in any project, either at home or at work, that involve more than one person? How confident are you that the R, the A, the C, and the I have been identified? How does the quote go? You are perfectly designed for the results you get. You are perfectly designed for the results you get. You know, I'm from Detroit. I think auto companies, right? If a car comes off the assembly line and it's missing a door, that's a perfect car. It is actually a perfect car. because the system allowed for a door to be missing. There was nothing wrong with the car. There was something wrong with the line. You see what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with the car. If you plan an event outside at a park and the bathrooms are closed and there's no porta potties, congratulations on your perfect picnic. It's not the bathroom's fault. The system was designed that allowed for that to happen. Leaders, regardless of the type you are going to first thing look at the system. If we have an outcome that we did not want or was not anticipating, what happened with the system? It's not a person's fault. It's a system fault. You see what I mean by that? Well, the system can be addressed if we are all clear on who is responsible for what. So I'm a visual learner. I'm not a big fan of theory. Here's how that would work. So after this training, we are going to have our own paper. Here's how Racy would work. Courtney is the A. She's the A. Got to give her some responsibility. She's the A. And you are the R's. You make the recommendation on where we're going. And you are the C's. And you are the I's. R, A, C, I. Recommenders. We should go to so-and-so park down the street. We should go downtown. We should go to Detroit. Sorry, had to sneak it. You make recommendations. When you make a recommendation, now help me think this through, team. Who do they make the recommendation to? Do they make it to the people with whom we should consult, or do they make it to the A? Who do you think? Actually, you make it to the C.
Oh, we said consult.
You make it to the C. All of you get together and you come up with places or recommendations that you think we should go. Should you take it to the A, what should the A instantly do?
No, none of it.
Redirect. You redirect back to the C's. That is a great recommendation. Did you let the C's know? Because what is the job of the C's? To check out if we can do that. That's a great recommendation. They do not allow kids. That's a great recommendation. They never have enough beer. That's a great recommendation. It's outdoors and I think it's going to be cold outside. All of the C's get together and they flesh out whether or not this can happen. That's their only job. Do the C's get to go to the A and say, here's where I think we should go? Like here, here, or here? No, not yet. What about the I's over here? Because you always have better ideas than the R's. All of you that have recommendations, what should you do with those? Where do you take them? Who's in charge of making recommendations? To the R's. It is clear, it is defined. Take all of your ideas and give it to them. Let them flush the recommendations out. Then after all of you have gathered the recommendations, you give it to the C's, and the C's say, based on what we want, these are the 2 choices or 3 choices that we are going to give the A. And then the A makes a decision. Here's where we're going. And then all of you are going to get an email. Is there anything you can do about the choice? Can you stop the choice? No. Okay, but now let's be real. You know what happens when you have a ton of I's? There's something to this. There are more of us than any of you. If all of us do not like this, we can change it. Right? A rule comes down, a system change, a new process, a new policy, a new procedure, and the I's overwhelmingly disagree with it. And they crumble, and they crumble, and they crumble, and they crumble. And then finally, the A buckles. Okay, let's look at this again. You've already undermined your leadership style. The I's sometimes actually think that they're A's. I know you know what I mean by that. Sometimes the I's think they're in charge, and they're not. Sometimes the R's think they get to be the approver, and they do not. Being consulted with does not mean that you have the final authority. But if that's not clear, then you have a mess. Make sense? Now, the President of the United States, the most powerful military leader on the planet, clearly not the best debater. That's neither here nor there. Give me an example of when the president is an I. He's the most powerful man in the free world. And even he is an I sometimes.
To his wife?
Good answer. That is on tape. I am sending it to Washington. Maybe at home he's an I more often than not. I believe that to be true about the Clintons. That's neither here nor there. Okay, yes.
Like the chief of staff, the military reports that he gets because he's getting information with it?
Yeah. Sometimes he receives information, and there's nothing he can do about the information. Hey, heads up, I just want to let you know. Heads up, just want to let you know. Can you give me an example of when my 5-year-old son is the A in the household? My 5-year-old son is in charge of whatever we do next. Yeah.
When he's sick.
When he's sick,
His birthday.
on his birthday. If the 5-year-old is sick and does not want to go out, nobody goes out. If it's his birthday and he wants to dress up an elephant to go to Chuck E. Cheese, guess what we're doing? Right? Now his sister, who's 10, who might think that to not be cool, can make all the recommendations she wants. But she's not an R, she's an I. Your title does not automatically make you the A. Your position does not automatically make you an I. If you're looking for a clever way to get people involved on your team and assume some responsibility, come up with a project where everybody has a different letter on the same project. I'll go back to the picnic, okay? For where we go, RCIA. For the food that we serve, RACI. For the entertainment that will go on there, you're the A for that, and you're the C for that. And she's back to the A, and we'll be I's. You see what I mean? Now, everybody has a leadership position within the same task. So that person who likes to hide in the back and never volunteer to be in charge but always has something to say about it, make them an A on something. So guess what? Whatever goes wrong with this portion of the picnic, guess who decided that's okay? You did. You want to introduce people to the challenges you have during the day? Introduce them to being an A. I suspect they'll back off a little bit. It is not easy being the A. It's not easy being the R. Make sense? Okay, let's have some fun with language. We've been sitting too long. How many of you, hit it for me. How many of you have ever heard of the term neurolinguistics? So we've got this study of your brain and language and how your body physically responds to the words you use. This is a physical response thing, okay? And what if I told you, hypothetically, 90% of the words you use, your brain has no idea what you're talking about? Would you believe me? We should test it. How about that? So, how about we start with the word try. T-R-Y. How many of you have ever tried to do something? I would hope. what happened when it didn't work out the way you planned? What did you do? Get frustrated? Did you try again? Help me out with this. If at first you don't succeed, try again, right? Here's what I would like for you to do for me, please. On the count of 3, I would like for you to try to stand up. 1, 2, 3. That's beautiful. So if you can sit back down for a second. I need you to listen very carefully to my instructions now. Are you ready? On the count of 3, I would like for you to try to stand up. 1, 2, 3. I wish you could see the faces I'm getting right now. Can you try to stand up? You either do or you don't. Thank you. You either do or you do not. Your brain said, okay, try to stand up. I'm standing up. And then you sat back down, and then I pushed you a little bit. Okay, and then your brain said, okay, something's not right. Okay, on the count of 3, try to stand up. And then, okay, I'll do it if she does it. The definition of try is to presuppose failure. Literally. It's to presuppose failure. When you try to do something, think about it. I decided one day that I was going to get in like stellar shape. I was going to get in shape. And it was going to start with me running a mile. And I said, okay, I'm going to set my alarm for 5 o'clock, and I'm going to wake up, and I'm going to go and try to run a mile. And here's what my try looked like on day 1. Are you ready? Ready? I tried. I got up, right? I got up. Okay, and so I realized, okay, that's not trying. I'm going to try again tomorrow morning. So here was my try on Tuesday. You ready? You gotta watch, because this is not going to last long. Here's my try on Tuesday. But I'm proud of myself. Why? I tried, right? And then Wednesday, I got 3 steps. And then maybe by Friday, if I hadn't pulled a muscle I didn't know existed, maybe I got 50 steps. But I am feeling good about myself because I tried. That's what I told my brain. But when you push it, there is no physical response to that word. None. None of you can stand right here and show me anything that you're trying to do. You're either doing it or you're not. Your brain only understands affirmation. It only understands true intent. That's it. And in the absence of clear intent, it will do exactly what you did when I said try to stand up. It will do what it thinks you meant and leave it to you to correct. You with me on that? So, if I say to you now that you know that word, you have never, you know how you're not supposed to say never? I'm going to say never. You have never been successful at anything you have ever tried to do. You either did it or you did not. And if there was a goal you were after and you did not meet the goal, you were successful up to the point that you stopped. You were always succeeding, even on the quote-unquote try. So I'll go back to my healthcare days. So I worked at a children's hospital and I was managing 7 outpatient subspecialties. I have no idea what they were doing with the kids in the room. I just knew money, people, and systems. Okay? But let's say, because it happens often in healthcare, but I'm glad it doesn't happen as often, needle sticks, right? Nurse sticks himself with a needle. I am pretty sure in their mind, they did not say, ooh, I'll try not to do that next time. Or was there a clear intent to never doing that again? Right? At Wells Fargo, it's the way of the free market system. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Here's what I'm not comfortable with, Alonzo. I lost $10 million today. I'll try not to let that happen again. No. I need a commitment, right? It's a commitment. Now, here's what's fair. Here's what's fair. I'm gonna demonstrate something to you. What's fair and what's not fair. What's fair is now you understand that word. What's not fair, and maybe this is a warning, I'm gonna ask you not to go back and invoke the tri-wisdom on your team. Because it might not be fair that they never heard this. I'm gonna demonstrate, so I'll demonstrate why. Excuse me for a second. So, I'm gonna pick on my son, because I picked on my daughter. Right? I'm gonna pick on my son. Mondis, clean your room. Okay, Daddy. Doesn't clean his room. Mondis, clean your room. Daddy, I'm trying. Mondis, clean your room, 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 clean your room. Daddy, I'm trying. So what do? I grab a chair, put it in the middle of the room, in his bedroom. Man, Daddy's really tired of yelling at you to clean your room. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sit here. Can you show Daddy what trying to clean your room looks like? What do you think his room looked like while I was sitting there while he was cleaning? It was the most beautifully cleaned room I've ever seen in my life. And then I say to him, from now on, this is what a room that you were trying to clean looks like. Now, is that fair? Depends. I got my outcome, right? But here's what else is fair. And he could have gotten away with it. If when I pulled the chair out and sat down, he got up and walked out, he would have been right. You see what I mean? He would have been right. Maybe his try is what I'm looking at. And that's it. Maybe that is what his success looks like. Communication. The next time someone says to you, I'm trying, because of an outcome that you did not want or expect, in your most respectful tone, say, you know what? Maybe I'm not understanding what trying looks like. Can you show me? What do you think is going to happen while they're showing you? Can we agree that the outcome might be a little different? That's just what happens. Because of that work. Anything any of you trying to do right now? At home, you got any projects you're trying to get done? Got any stacks of paper on your desk you're trying to get rid of? How's that going for you? You either do, yes.
You know, my mom's arthritic, but she likes to try to get up on her own. And it's really a very noble thing, and it's really somebody attempting to make themselves more independent and more self-sufficient. And it's not lazy or negative in any way.
Absolutely agree. And she's also not trying.
She's trying until she succeeds in getting up. Yeah, she's trying to get up.
She's saying, I'm getting up. And it doesn't matter to me how far she gets. The fact that she is attempting to move is success. She might not get up how you and I say get up, but the success is the start, the attempt to get up. But again, we're focusing on language, right? So if you say, I'm going to try to do this, your brain literally then reinterprets that. Okay, we'll do something, and we're going to be okay with whatever happens. Back to the definition. You're going to give yourself an out. You're going to presuppose. You cannot control that if you're not aware of it. From the start, whatever it is you're working on personally or professionally, maybe you're thinking about going back to school, and you're saying, okay, I'm going to try to go back to school next year. Well, your brain has already built it out. It has already built it out because you said that. I'll look some schools up. I tried. filled out an application. I tried. You can't do that. I'm challenging you for a while to just eliminate that word completely. Because you can't control the physical outcome, the physical response. What about another one? How many of you have things that you say you don't do? You do everything? I have things I say I don't do. I don't jump out of airplanes without a malfunction. That's not fun to me. I don't do it. I can look at you and say I don't eat deer meat. I'm very comfortable telling you I don't eat deer meat. Except, once again, here's the problem. My brain is not understanding my intent because I'm not being clear. Let's have fun with this word for a minute. I am going to assume, maybe it's a bad assumption, can I assume that everyone drove here today? On the count of 3, don't think about where you parked your car. 1, 2, 3. Do you see it? Okay, so now that we know the rules, now I want you to be serious this time. All right, focus. Ready? Focus. On the count of 3, don't think about your home address. 1, 2, 3. Anybody here not see it? Don't. Now I'm being serious now. Okay? Being serious. Don't open your front door at home and see the first picture on the wall. Don't look at it. Don't look at it. You see it? I thought don't was, according to the dictionary, a non-negotiable. I thought don't means not to do it. Why are you still doing it? 1, because your brain has no idea what you're talking about. And 2, that word is not intentional. It's not a clear intention. And in the absence of clear intention, it is going to do exactly what it thinks you mean. And then leave it to you to correct it. What's the sign that hangs up in our kids' schools in the hallway about running? Don't run. What's going on in the kids' head? Run, 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 run. I said, don't think about where you parked your car. Where's my car? Don't think about your home address. What's my address? Right? Don't look at the picture on the wall. I'm not looking, I'm not looking, I'm not looking. Okay, there it is. Don't run. Don't interrupt. Just out of curiosity, any don't signs on the wall in this library right now? Don't use your cell phone. Right? Don't bring food or drink in the library. Don't. I just tricked you on don't think about your car. What do you think is happening with don't use your cell phone? Use it, use it, use it, use it. I'm going to focus on you first. Forget everybody else. I'm focusing on you. What are the things that you say you don't do? And then press yourself and say, is that really true? If you've ever done it, ever, if a previous experience has said that now you're never doing it again, you do not get to say to me, I don't do it. You ever been to McDonald's and hung out because it's a pretty cool thing to do by the kids' play area and listen to moms and dads sometimes? Now, Johnny, we don't play like that. When does mom say that? When he's playing like that. We don't play like that. Yeah, you do. Now, Susie, we don't talk like that. Is that before or after she's talking like that? It's usually after. So the don't makes absolutely no sense. I told you I don't jump out of airplanes. I'll also tell you this is how that news story is going to go. If I'm ever on an airplane that's going down, and in other news, plane goes down in the field, everybody lives on the ground, but there's one body 50 yards back in the tree. That was me. I'm not going out like that. I do jump out of airplanes. I've never been in a position to make a decision on whether or not I want to jump out of an airplane. So to say to you I don't is actually not true. I told you I don't eat deer meat. Well, anybody who has family and friends north of West Bend, for all I care, who has hung out with them on Thanksgiving, you and I both know that bowl of chili was banned. You know it, I know it. But they know that they should never tell me that on purpose because I won't eat it. So for all I know, I've been eating deer meat for 20 years. But I say to you, I don't eat it, when the truth is I probably do. Not on purpose, but I do. There are all kinds of things we say we don't do. But when you press yourself, you have to wonder, is that really true? Leaders who walk around barking things to the team, don't do this. Don't forget. That one kills me. Don't forget. Forget, right? Don't forget. Don't make the same mistake twice. You are presupposing failure on the try. You are not being clear on the instruction, and then you are perfectly designed for the results you get. Once again, it's not fair that you know this and your team does not. So you can't go and invoke the no-don't rule in the workplace. You have to go back and explain it to people. Okay, on the count of 3, don't think about where you parked your car. That's exactly how I feel about that outcome. Right? Explain the don't. Any questions on that one? Does that one make sense? Okay, how about one more? Anybody know the definition of hard in the dictionary? Solid, impenetrable, can't pass through. Can we agree on some level that if we all took a running start and ran into that brick wall out there, that would be hard? Can we agree on that? Okay, and to some degree, it would hurt us all. It would hurt. That's hard. Any of you have something you're working on that you call hard? So everything you do is easy? I can remember algebra in high school. Algebra, I kept saying, was hard. And then calculus was hard. And then accounting in college was hard. And breaking a bad habit is hard. And you know what the brain does every single time? Because I'm not being clear. The brain goes, ooh, I know that word. That word means solid, impenetrable, can't pass through. I will make this algebra problem hard. But everybody around me has figured it out. I'm the only one that hasn't figured it out. That's like all of you being able to run through a brick wall, but me. Well, you know that that's not true. In the absence of intention, though, I wasn't clear in my instructions to the brain. I used the word incredibly loosely, and so my brain applied it how it thought I meant it. And it made algebra hard. And it made calculus hard. And it made accounting hard. But it's not hard. It's not hard. You might have a project or something you're working on from the library you work at that everybody is calling hard. As your friend, I want you to understand then what you're doing. And it's no one's fault intentionally, but the brain is making it what you called it. It's making it hard, harder than it's got to be. All because of language. Now, do I want to stand here for 3 hours and talk about words? It would be fun. It would blow your mind on the words that you use, that your brain is like, huh? When you push it. The point is, be clear. Be clear in your intention, in your communication. There's something called semantic illusion. Anyone here know what a semantic illusion is? It's when remember how I started this? Everybody wants to be first. Like faster. Semantic illusion is when you look at a sentence or someone asks you a question and you're so busy moving fast that you didn't catch that the question makes no sense. For example, I got one for you. Please. Would you please write this sentence down on a piece of paper, on your notes for me? I didn't say you stole the pen. Excuse me. Can we agree that that sentence is 7 words? 7 words. I didn't say you stole the pen. Have you ever found yourself in what I'll call a spirited debate with someone for whom you care deeply? It just sounds so much better when you say it like that. We're not arguing, it's a spirited debate. Spirited debate. And it goes like this. I heard what you said. And then the person goes, I didn't say that. And then the next starts going, well, I was standing there when you said it. Well, then you weren't listening. And then the hands get going, right? You ever been in one of those spirited debates where the whole body's like rocking, you're doing a little like National Geographic dance with each other, right? People like me, and now people like you, will be standing in the background smiling, saying, I didn't say you stole the pen. What do I mean by that? 7 words. What if I look at you and say this? I didn't say you stole the pen. I didn't say you stole the pen. What do you walk away thinking? Someone else said it. I didn't say you stole the pen. I didn't say you stole it. I was sure thinking it. I don't know. I didn't say you stole it, right? I didn't say you stole the pen. I said he stole the pen. That guy back there on his laptop hasn't said one word. He looks sneaky. Right? I didn't say you stole it. I said he stole it. I didn't say you stole the pen. Might have borrowed it without asking. I'm sure you were going to bring it back. I didn't say you stole the pen. I didn't say you stole the pen. I said you stole the pencil. You are not going to put that on me. She said you stole the pen. I said you stole the pencil. But here's what's the undeniable fact. I didn't say you stole the pen. That is an undeniable fact. I recognize and fully accept the responsibility that everything I say to you right now has the potential of landing 50 different ways. Everything that comes out of my mouth has the potential of landing 50 different ways. That is not your fault if it's not clear. That's mine. Right? I own it. And if any of you walk out and repeat what I said and it's not clear, then I'm going to find myself in an I didn't say you stole the pen spirited debate. I can't believe you said that to him. I didn't say that to him. Yes, you did. It's on videotape. I saw it. Well, that's not what I meant. Well, then what did you mean? And then the dance starts. Right? It happens at home. It happens at work. When it happens at work, you find yourself in a crucial conversation. You know, I'm a little bit concerned about what I heard you say in the staff meeting. But what did you hear me say in that staff meeting? And then you repeat it. And then you give a look. That's not what I said. Yes, you did. I wrote it down. Well, that's not what I meant. Well, then what did you mean? And then the dance starts. Right? Which wristwatches are Swiss wristwatches? When you are communicating change, when you are communicating key information to your team, recognize that you cannot say it faster than your leadership style allows. And allow for the fact that no matter how clear you believe you're being, the potential is there for someone to have stolen a pen. Yes?
At what point is it the other person's responsibility to mirror and say, did you mean to say this, or what is it that you really meant, or clarify that for me?
So, excellent question. So at one point, does it become the audience's responsibility? I'm gonna take that like tennis and you fired it back at me. Once I've said what I needed to say, I invite the opportunity for clarity. Is there any part of what I just said that may not be clear or you are uncomfortable with? I allow for the fact that some people on my team might not voice that in a crowd. Some people are just not comfortable saying that in front of a room full of people, and I'm okay with that. But here's part of my authority style, right? I say this all the time. I say, I can only control arm's length, and I will not own the consequences of your decision. I'm just not going to do it. I sleep good every night when I'm leading other people. If I take my role seriously within the organization, and I embrace the fact that I have a responsibility to be clear as often as I possibly can, then I will not own the consequence of someone else's decision. For example, when I ask, is there anything that I can do to provide more clarity to the instruction I just gave? And no one says anything to me. I'm sleeping good that night. I'm not going to own it. And people just will not speak up. Now that's where my authority style comes in, right? So I deliver you best in class, and then people say I don't care. But there's the word don't. I do care. That's my style. But none of that, not owning the consequences of someone else's decision, matters if I'm not being clear up front. And I appreciate that. If you think professional sports for a minute, right? We all like sports, and I'm not going to talk about your Packers. You don't talk about my Lions. Lions good. Okay. However, I will pick on my Lions. My beloved Lions went 0-16 3 years ago. Did any of the players get fired? No. Who got fired? The coach and the general manager, right? And the scouts and everybody else who was supposed to be delivering through others. That leadership, right? Leadership, delivering an outcome through others. Everybody that was responsible for delivering an outcome through others got fired. Not the team. That is not something I can fight. That is life. That is human behavior, and I get it. And I get it. So guess what, team? When an order comes around that or a goal comes around, or a plan comes around that we need to execute against, and I am the leader or the primary person responsible for the outcome, I do accept the fact that if this does not go well, what's going on with my leadership first? I'm okay with that because I understand it. And then I'm going to be effective in my delivery, and I'm going to own the clarity and the responsibility I have to articulate the goal, and then I am not going to own the consequences of other people's decisions. And sometimes leaders are uncomfortable with that. You've got a person on the team who will make this up, is having an attendance issue. And I do what I can, arm's length. I control what I can control as it relates to their attendance. But do not mistake my question of what can I do to help you with I'm picking you up every morning. I control what I can control. And then on that final warning, if you have progressive discipline or however it goes, I do not wake up one morning and go, you know what would be really funny? You should come in late today. Of course, that's not what I do. Which means I'm going to feel bad for another human being that I've impacted their quality of life. I am not going to own the consequence of their decision to be late. You see what I'm saying? There's a huge difference. Can you flip to the next question for me, please? Okay, now, the reason I put duck, that's more of my warning for me. It was my reminder. So I'm going to put a sentence up, and I'm going to ask for your patience in the example. Can you properly punctuate that sentence for me? Can you hit the next bullet point? Did any of you do that? Did any of you do this one? Now I'm telling myself duck, because if I don't hit those fast enough, then something can get thrown. Your communication is not just limited to you talking. Your punctuation in an email and a written note completely changes the context of the message. And I can't think of a more powerful sentence to emphasize that than this. If you hear me say, a woman without her man is nothing, that gets me beat up. I can't punctuate that while I'm talking. I can only emphasize the word, the pause, the tone, right? But if I write that down, and I am moving so fast that I give you the second bullet point, by the time I get beat up, there's 50 more people in line to beat me up because it got forwarded. Agreed? Can we agree that the context of the third bullet point makes this just mean something entirely different than the first one? Now, here's what I'm not advocating, and it's on tape, so I have proof. Ladies, do not go home and stick this in front of your boyfriend or your husband or whoever and give them the punctuation test. I'm not advocating for that. It's part of a bigger point. Just like the language you use while conversing, the language you use while writing completely changes how I respond to your direction. See what I mean? It absolutely changes how I respond based on how you communicate with me. Authority people are not really worried about punctuation. They're not. Just here's what I have to say, deal with it. Right? It's the land the plane mentality, right? I say this in class all the time. It's one of my 3 rules for class. Besides God, at 30,000 feet, who are you at the mercy of? The pilot. And should the pilot be having a bad day? What kind of day are you having? Bad day. And should the pilot decide to miss the runway, is there anything you can do about it? How do you feel about the pilot who gets up in the air and then says, where are we going again? Is there anything you can do about that? Nothing. You are at the mercy of the pilot. You are at the mercy of the person whose leadership style is authority. There's really nothing you can do about it. And if the pilot misses the runway, also known as punctuation, you got to sit there and deal with it. But if that's not your style, and you're moving too fast, this comes across as you being like that, and I resist. I resist. I'm not excusing or advocating or brushing aside, but as it relates to human behavior, sometimes we do brush aside some people's rudeness as that's just who they are. Because that's who they've always been. It doesn't make it right, but I embrace it because that's who they are. But you can't one day decide to be authority when you've been shepherd for the last 10 years. It confuses us. Make sense? What about this one? You don't bury survivors. Any of you thinking about where to bury them? Put this in front of someone on your team and just sit and do not laugh in their face, but chuckle a little bit. People actually thinking about where do we bury them? Moving too fast. What about this one? What's the answer, Kenny? He's dead. He can't marry his widow's sister. But you know what some people will do? Well, that's just disgusting. But I guess it's not illegal. You and I both know that there will be people on the team actually working on figuring this out. You know that. My dissertation topic in school Have any of you ever heard the term sucker's choice? It's a sucker's choice. That's what they call it. It's when the bully comes up to you and says, "I'll take your lunch today or tomorrow. Which day would you like me to take it?" So just out of curiosity, which day would you have me take it if I were to bully? Today or tomorrow? Tomorrow? Anybody let me take it today? Anybody let me take it tomorrow? Anybody never let me take it? It's a sucker's choice. The answer is neither. Neither. The answer is neither. It's a sucker's choice. My dissertation topic is the sucker's choice I feel like my government presented to me. I can fix healthcare or I can fix education. But there is not enough money to fix both. Which way do you want? You want to be incredibly healthy and dumb as a box of rocks? Or do you want to be incredibly intelligent and at risk of dying from the common cold? Right? It was a sucker's choice. I should reject that, but apparently we made a choice. Right? And then we rationalize it. We rationalize it because we're moving too fast. Part of your challenge as leaders, really, if you take it seriously, is to make sure you are not presenting your team with sucker's choices where you say either or when the answer is both. You can control that by not giving an option. I mean, the solution really is that simple. Do not present me with an either or. What would an example of that be like at work? We can take our money and update our computer software, or we can hire another staff person. Well, that's not fair, because everybody's thinking both, and they're not sure how to reject them. That's not their fault. You know what I mean? Where you do need the software, and you do need more staff. Neither of which they can control, but they want both. But they do want both. So here's what I'd like to do. So I've been talking now for an hour and a half. Maybe you need a break for a quick minute. I would like for you to take a break, but here's what I would like for you to think about. As much as I love me, I am my biggest fan, in case I hadn't mentioned. The truth is, however, I know that a week from now, if you do not have your notes in front of you, and someone says, "Hey, how was that thing with that Alonzo guy the other day?" The truth is, you may not remember everything. I would like for you to think about a week from now, if you do not have your notes, what is the one thing so far that you believe is going to stick? Because that's going to help us with our exercise on the start. Is it focusing on your leadership style? Is it focusing on your communication? Are you going to go back and think about all these don't signs that are running around? Are you going to think about all the things right now that you're trying to do and what you're going to do about it? Perhaps you're going to think about the sucker's choice. Where have I presented to my team or my family or my friends this either or thing when the answer is both? I want you to think about that for a minute. How long is an appropriate break? 10, 15 minutes? Okay, I'll see you in 10, 15 minutes. 4, 10, 4,
Why? Yes, so did I.
The one I have. No. But I,
They are.
progress. You team? Is it clear what being busy about progress looks like? Otherwise, that's not fair to them. And it's not fair to you, because I'm going to hold you accountable for progress. Make sense? I'm going to hold you responsible for progress. And if everyone on your team is busy, but there's nothing being done towards progress, 0-16 Lions. The coach got it. I hold you responsible. It's not about threatening to fire anybody, but understand how I perceive you in your role. You're the A. What about the next one? Does your brain tell you that you have more time than you really have? Your brain stinks at time. We are, I dare say, the most intelligent species on the planet, and even geese can figure out when they got to get up and fly south. Us? I got time. Let me know when the ocean's on my block. Right? I know the levee broke, but it broke on the east side. I live on the west side. I got time. I know the rule is we all have to be compliant with this policy, but they usually give us a grace period. You got time. Your brain is getting in your way. That is you getting in your way. That is not your team. That is not some administrator on high. That is you. Make it personal first. Where have you told yourself you got time to address the ocean that's coming? None of these are mutually exclusive, right? That false sense of time comes from the second bullet point. I instantly focus on the worst part of something I need to do, therefore I put it on. I'll get to that when I get to that. Right? I'll get to that when I get to that. You got time. You do not have time. You do not have time to work on things where the ocean is coming. Sense of urgency. What about this next one? Your brain is not good at winging it. I emphasize ever. Ever. Did I mention ever? Ever. Now, some of us have had the experience that we get thrown into a situation without any data, without any history, without any information, and we pulled it off. We pulled it off. And you remember that. And your brain goes, see? We're good at this. I'm the best emergency manager this place has ever seen. You can wing it. Your brain is not good at winging it. Ever. Here's why. Your brain will abandon ship at the first sign of distress. I'll throw you into a situation. You can go in confident about the situation, and then you're in a situation, and it's not going well, and your brain leaves you. And then you stand there in front of a room with people going, well, what do you think we should do? You've now deflected it on the team, which just violates all the rules of everything we talked about so far. You've made them the A, and now you got to fix that later on. See what I mean? Your brain is not good at winging it, ever. Ever. So help me out. We're going to go through these, and we are going to give ourselves some tips or tricks to addressing these. If I get caught in fantasizing about utopia, what can I do about that? How do I avoid this trick? Interject life. If this works, or when this works, this is going to be really cool. But in order for that to happen, this is what I have to do now. And then fantasizing is okay. And then it's okay. I absolutely encourage you to fantasize. It encourages goal. I also absolutely encourage you to interject or inject now, here and now, into it. What do we do for the procrastinating on big projects by focusing on the worst part? You know people on our team are going to do that, or do that. So if we appreciate and just accept that people on our team are going to do that, what do we do about that? Yes?
I do the worst, try to do the worst part first.
So address the worst part first, and then it's over with. Incentives. Could be. Yes.
How about addressing the best parts first, and then by the time you get done with that, the worst parts might become less worse.
So there. Yes. Yeah.
Well, if you lay out all the steps, then see that it might be in the minority, that the perspective.
Perspective, right? Here's where I want my authority leader first, and then here's where I want my teacher second. Here's where I want my authority. Do you hear how the heavens opened up when I said that? No. Okay. Here's where I want my authority. Here's the goal. Here's the new policy. Here is where I will concede that we will face our biggest challenge. I want my leader to acknowledge what is going on in my head right now. I want to hear you say it. You not saying it dismisses my feeling about it, which leads me to believe that you do not take it seriously. I want to hear you say it. This is the new goal, and here's where I see our biggest challenges are. Here's what we are going to do about it. And like this young lady recommended first, here's what we're going to address first, with that worst part of the big project. I have now taken my brain out of the equation, which I know sounds funny because you need your brain to succeed. But that part of how it gets in my way now can't get in my way anymore. It's not necessary for me to sit there and fantasize about the worst part, or think about the worst part, I'm sorry, because my leader already said it to me. Now here's where I want my teacher. Here's how I am going to partner with you to address it. Here's my role, here's your role, here's what you can expect from me, here's what I expect from you, this is what we're going to do together. I've now taken the trick of the brain out of the equation because we're going to do this together. And I appreciate it. I mean, think about it, make it personal first. Do you not appreciate it when your leader acknowledges the headache that this is going to create? You get buy-in from me when you acknowledge it. That's where I want my authority. Tell me what we're going to do. Acknowledge the headache, and then be a teacher. How are we going to do this together? What do we do about our brain abandoning ship at the first sign of distress? This is too hard. That's where the hard comes in. What do we do about that? What do you recommend we do about that? Realizing, as a human being, I am going to want to do that. At the first sign of distress, and adjusting to this new rule due to budget cuts, I'm telling you I am going to abandon ship. The minute something goes wrong, I'm out. Mentally. What do you do about that? Anticipate it. So what do you do about that?
Provide encouragement.
You can provide encouragement. Do you provide encouragement when I've abandoned ship? Come back, Rose. The Titanic's going down. Come back, Rose. She's gone. You can encourage. What else can you do?
You can find ways to manage your stress. So maybe when you feel that anxiety coming on, you can do some deep breathing or maybe a little fantasizing for a couple of minutes.
That's when it's appropriate.
At the end of the day, I'm going to be able to relax.
Right, fantasize on the positive.
But just for a few minutes.
Just for a few minutes. just for a few minutes.
Can you address the distress, step back, and what's distressing and how?
Acknowledge it, right? Back to acknowledging, and I feel better when my leader recognizes that I'm approaching distress here, right? I'm approaching distress. That requires you to be engaged with your team. It requires you to check in. For you to say to me, now remember how much fun we had with it before. Now, Alonzo, we don't get angry when that happens. When did you say that to me? When I was angry. Now, Alonzo, don't give up. When did you say that to me? We don't quit. Which pretty much means come back. We don't surrender, which pretty much means come back, right? That's how we address this abandoning ship. I anticipate that this is how human beings are. I was the kid. I'm going to make fun of me because it's fun. I'll make fun of me. I was the kid during a checker game. When I realized I was about to lose, I smacked all the pieces off the board. I was that kid. And you know how that translated further? It started with the kid game, and I quit. I abandoned ship at the first sign of distress. As a kid, I don't want to do this anymore. You hear kids say that? When they're frustrated, I don't want to do this anymore. And they quit. Then they get older, and they're smacking checker pieces off the board. And then they get on the basketball team, and they're losing. How does a kid who's losing in the game abandon ship? What do they do? I just stop running. That motivation's gone. I can care less. I make it everybody else's fault. Some people go so far as to then forget they're playing basketball and start hurting other people. You know that frustration? They've abandoned ship. The person in rush hour who greets you with beautiful sign language, their brain has abandoned ship. And that's how they respond. They're in distress right now. So part of me, to avoid road rage, is just to smile and say, I realize your brain is a 5-mile marker a long, long time ago. And there's nothing you can say to them in traffic that's going to fix that at that moment. Their brain has abandoned ship. So how do they get on the freeway at rush hour and not anticipate is going to be frustrating. You as leader, budget cut, new process, new policy, new rule, new regulation. Shame on you for not anticipating distress. How do I prepare for when my team is going to want to abandon ship? What do we do about this busy work? Because that's a biggie. If I just concede that everybody's busy, what do we do about this whole brain disguising busy work as progress? Yes.
Set clear goals and guidelines.
Clear goals, clear guidelines. If it's okay, I will add measurable outcome. This is how you know that we're working on progress. If by this date, XYZ has happened. If by this date, this many people understand how to do this new thing. If by this quarter, we are no longer in practice mode, we are in live implementation. Otherwise, we're all just going to be busy. Anything else we can do? Busy work disguised as progress.
Sometimes visuals, depending on, how long the project it is, this is the first phase of the project, this is where, where we should by this date and where we are.
Timelines. Timelines are probably the #1 way to address busy work. Timelines hold you accountable. If the hamster is in the wheel, running, and we tell the hamster you got an hour to move an inch, and the hamster recognizes after a half hour I'm not going anywhere, I would like to think the hamster does something different. Because I'm not getting anywhere this way. Now, none of these operate in a vacuum. The hamster will abandon ship at the first sign of distress. I'm working my butt off and nothing's happening. I quit. I need you, teacher, to be there. At that point, I need teacher. I do not need authority barking in my ear, telling me what to do, giving me, I can't stand ultimatums. Get it or else. That's not what I need at that moment. I do need the teacher. Where's the we part? Where's the partner part? Where's my respecting you because of you've delivered before, and I need a mentor right now. That's when I need teacher. What do we do about this false sense of time? Everybody thinks they got time. Call me when the ocean's on my boat. Is it fair to say that I will take my cue from you if I'm on your team? If it's not urgent to you, it's not urgent to me. I know what you said, but that is not how you are behaving. I'll walk as fast as you walk. I'll run as fast as you run. I'll take my cue from you. That false sense of time, if I see you busy about being busy, then I'm going to be busy about being busy. Now, it's not always fair that you are busy towards progress, and the team can't always know everything you're doing. But at some point, you should check in with the team. Here's how progress is happening for what I'm responsible for. Here's where I need your part. By Tuesday. Now we're back to the deadline again. The timeline. Recognizing all of these, I'm going to go back one for a second. Love's busy work disguised as progress. Actually, I can do this for all of these. The first thing I had asked you to do was identify for yourself your leadership style. And then I asked you to consider if your team would label you the same way as you did. Your leadership style does impact the behavior in all of these. If you're a fantasizer and your leadership style is authority, you lead carnage to get it done. We are going to be best in class. I fantasize about best in class. I recognize things are going to go wrong, but I do not accept that excuse. And I get it done, but then everybody believes that I do not care about the relationship. That's not the kind of leader I want to be, but that's what I deliver. If I am shepherd, the relationship is important. I do care about mentoring others. Someone mentioned teacher style. There is a teacher, or not teacher, like parent style or mother style. I can be motherly in all this. My biased opinion. Sometimes moms care so much that I miss the sense of urgency because moms make it okay for me to try again. Baby, it's all right. I know you're doing the best you can. Do it again. Don't worry about all those other people. You do it as fast as you can do it. Moms do that, and it feels good, and it's necessary sometimes. Maybe it's necessary most times. It is not okay for mom to tell me to take my time when the ocean is coming. That's when it's not okay. Your style does impact how you respond, and you need to know that about yourself. What about this last one? What do you do about people thinking they can wing it? Which they can't do, maybe I just like saying ever. What can you do about people on your team that just, they wing it? What do you do for yourself if you like to wing it? I have a room full of planners. That is excellent. Okay, help me tell it to the next group. What should I tell them to do that all of you are doing, since none of you wing it? Yes.
I think winging it is related to
accountability plan creeping up again, right? Asking for progress reports, asking for updates. As a human being, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Provide training.
Provide training. Teachers, excellent. Provide training, yes.
I was supposed to be basically saying, after you wing it, get through the situation, set something up so the next time it occurs.
Being prepared. One of the dangers we have is because human beings are so brilliant. We're brilliant. We're brilliant. If we've ever had an experience that rhymes the current experience we're in, we believe that we can handle it because we handled it before. Which tricks you into believing you can wing it. What's going on now? Oh yeah, that happened to me once before. I'm good. I can handle that. It's happened before. It'll happen again. It's happened to us a million times. We'll be fine. Or my favorite danger, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Yes.
A brave leader would let him fail and learn from that.
A brave leader would recognize when it's okay to let the team fail or fall, right? Because I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, sometimes I have to be able to wing it in order to be flexible in the situation that can go in ways. So like story times, I have to prepare a story time. And I'm not going to know the behavior of the kids. I'm not always going to know the ages of the kids. And sometimes I do have to wing it depending on the audience that comes. So I have to prepare in a broader sense, but I have to be flexible enough to wing it depending on the situation
Yep.
that comes.
So here's what I heard. I have to be flexible enough and prepared to wing it. You've addressed the failure of winging it. Being flexible and anticipating surprises means that you have not allowed your brain to be put in a situation where whatever happens is going to be a surprise. You prepared for it, which makes you better than just walking into it blind, right? So we had a recommendation. Sometimes you have to let the team fall or fail. Here I am again with my intentional language. Do you know the definition of falling? Or could you describe falling to me? What does it mean to fall? Literally, if you fall.
Let it go.
You let go, lose balance, you would hit the ground, you would fall on your face. If not for, if not, you'd fall on your face with gravity. You'd fall on your face if not for some type of interruption to gravity. So you know what you do. This is what I tell. Honestly, this is what I tell kids who are afraid to fail or fall. Okay, but it applies to you and I. Count how many times I fell. How many times did I fall? I'll do it again. You ready? I fell 5 times. I fell literally 5 times. Every time you take a step, you fall. I would be flat on my face. Me taking a step is actually the definition of falling, and I'd be on my face if not for the last minute interruption to avoid the ultimate outcome. But me taking a step and gravity doing what it does, I've fallen. You fall or fail 1,000,000 times a day, or any of you that have your pedometers, not odometers, you don't run that fast, right? Pedometers. You fall all day. How come that's not bothering you? That's what you do. Sometimes you have to let the team not have that interruption. Be there to coach, be there to pick up, be there to partner, but sometimes you just have to let the team learn. That's a teachable moment. That's a teachable moment. So I have one last exercise. I think I'm done with this slide, right? I believe I am. Here's what I would like for you to do. You've got 5 minutes because we're going to be done in 5 minutes. Here is the one action. It's the start. It's the start that stops most people. It's the start that stops most people. It's not the headache, it's not the nightmare, it's not the difficult part of the project, it's the start. Once you start it, you are going to complete it. It's the start. Here's what I would like for you to do. I would like for you to tell me one thing that you are going to do to create an intentional zone at your library. In other words, tell me one thing that you are going to do when you get back to your respective place of employment that becomes clear that the don'ts are gone, the do nots are gone. Here's what we are going to do as a team. Example. If I worked here, and I'm totally we'll make up a library in Detroit. A library in Detroit is, we don't talk behind one another's back. Here's the intentional zone. Here's what we do. We respect one another's opinions and participation. It's a do. It's an intentional zone. Tell me something you're going to do to start creating an intentional zone where you work. Tell me one thing you're going to do, not something you are going to stop. I'm not interested in what you're going to stop doing. I'm interested in what you're going to start doing. What you're going to do as a result of our conversation. I'll give you just a few minutes to think about that. The temptation is to be thinking after a conversation, these are all the things we're going to stop doing. The challenge is tell me what you're going to start doing. I would like for you to remember a week from now, one of the things I'd like for you to remember is the leadership styles. I offer 3 of 3 million. Remember the leadership styles, how they contribute to the team, and how they can possibly get in the way of the team's success. They all have advantages, they all have opportunities. I would like for you to do your best, not try. Do intentionally, do your best to be clear in your communication. I want you to have some fun and appreciate how your brain works. It's a fun thing to appreciate the words you use, how people respond to your directions. I want you to have an appreciation for how your brain processes information. You're in a planning session, you are not allowed to say, here's what we're going to try to do. That word is forever banned in that part of the process. Tell me what you're going to do. It is not hard. And I'm not interested in the don'ts. Tell me what you're going to do. And then finally commit to starting. It has been an absolute honor and privilege to have this conversation with you. I leave my information up on the wall. There's also something that's being passed out for those that haven't seen it. I would consider it a cool thing to be able to stay connected with you. So, do you have any questions for me? I can absolutely do that. Any questions for me? Last thoughts, final thoughts? Feedback, comments? All right. Thanks, everybody.